For over a decade, the Zen Parenting Radio podcast has been sharing self-awareness, mindfulness, and how we can better understand and relate to our children. The hosts, Todd and Kathy Adams, share the most up-to-date research about parenting and personal growth, while also sharing their personal experiences. Don't miss out on how to live a life filled with connection and meaning. Follow or subscribe to Zen Parenting Radio today. When we're learning mindfulness, we can look at the Thich Nhat Hanhs and the Jon Kabat-Zins of the world and think, well, that could never be me. It's actually closer than you might realise, and the framework is very easy to learn. Welcome to Mindfulness for Beginners. Hello my friend, I hope you're happy, I hope you're peaceful. It's your old pal Sean with another sack of spiritual presents to go under the tree. If you're enjoying the podcast, then I invite you to become a supporter of the show on Patreon. The link is in the description. There's lots of exclusive content there. Please do check it out. Australia is an Olympic powerhouse. They're massively successful every 4 years at the Summer Olympics in athletics, gymnastics, water stuff, lifting stuff, and the final category, other stuff. I'm not an expert when it comes to the Olympics, but when it comes to the Winter Olympics, neither's Australia. It's not the place that you naturally think of when you picture ski ballet and ice canoeing. But they have competitors, and one of their most famous competitors was Stephen Bradbury, a speed skater from Camden in New South Wales. Steve did not have an easy time of it in his Olympic journey. He loved the sport but had limited funding and sponsorships, so he had to fund his own training and competition expenses. He had several injuries that put him off competing, and he considered giving up many times. But his love of skating around in a circle as fast as you can always brought him back. Speed skating is a bit like NASCAR on ice. Which brought him to his last Olympics, Salt Lake City 2002. He got through his heat, but in the semi-final he faced the world champion and the host nation's best competitor. He knew he couldn't beat them, so he did the only sensible thing. He hung back, staying within reach, and waited for them to all fall over each other fighting to win, which is exactly what happened. Steve sailed past the tangled pile of spandex, ice skates and regret, smoothly sweeping over the finish line. He had improbably got into the Olympic final and given himself a chance at the gold. Not really, though. Everyone would have to fall over again for that to happen. And if you watch the video on YouTube, you can see Steve happily skating well behind the others. And on the last turn, right in front of the finish line, the greatest skaters in the world pushed it too hard, got all tangled up with each other, and went off the track. Steve Bradbury skated over the line and into the history books as the most unlikely gold medalist of all time. Urban Dictionary defines pulling a Bradbury as an improbable victory gained by default. Sometimes being persistent is all that we need to do. Fortune favours the bold, so the saying goes, but fortune also favours those that try, those that show up. And it's the same for our mindfulness practice. When we're starting off, it can seem improbable to us that we can let go of our suffering or find peace. We look at those who've been practicing for years and compare ourselves to them. We might even think that there's something inherently special about them that gives them a connection to their spirituality that we could never experience. But when we look at someone on the surface, we don't see their journey. We can sometimes believe that they've got to where they are by their nature, which took them on the path. But the truth is that the path that they walked brought them to their nature, to being the person that they are today. And the same is true of you. You don't need to be a special person to practice deeply. You don't need to be a mystic to walk the path. All you need to do to walk the path is to see the path and walk. And that means making it part of your everyday life. When the Buddha was asked towards the end of his life what the secret to enlightenment was, he said, just follow the Eightfold Noble Path. We talk about all of the elements of the Eightfold Noble Path regularly in the podcast, but it's helpful to bring them together in the framework created by your other old pal, the Buddha, to see how powerful they can be when combined if you integrate them into your life. And the first one is right view. We actually made this the theme in 2022. It's about looking deeply and seeing true reality, looking past the mental model in your mind, which is built up through trauma and experience, and seeing the world as it truly is without the spin. The second is right intention, committing to the path of happiness through mindful awareness, being persistent and patient. A few weeks ago, we talked about climbing the mindfulness mountain and what was at the top. And I would invite you to develop a passion for that climb, a passion for the path. The third is right speech, so understanding the power of your words and committing to making them kind, peaceful, helpful, truthful. Right action, so we don't hurt other people, we don't lie, we consume in a way that doesn't harm other beings, and we don't get lost in consumption that's harmful to us. So it's don't be a poo-poo head, basically. The fifth is right livelihood. Do a job that makes the world a better place. If your career harms other beings, then it's time for a rethink. Right effort. So tending to our garden, treating our sadness, anxiety and anger with compassion rather than aversion. Cultivating the wholesome, happy things in our life that bring us into the present moment and promoting our calmness and our joy. Right mindfulness. So focusing your awareness in the present moment with formal and informal practice. So the formal practice, as John Kabat-Zinn says, get your butt on the cushion and meditate every day. The informal practice, being present while you're walking, while you're speaking, while you're working, while you're playing. And finally, right concentration, which we talked about a few weeks ago, that single pointed awareness. Use that mindful awareness that you've built up and point it towards one thing. And we sometimes call that contemplation, and it's hugely powerful. Now, you might be sitting there thinking, God damn, Sean, I came for a nibble, not the entire buffet. And it's not intended to overwhelm. If you've listened to the podcast for a while, we break each of these down individually. But what you might have noticed is that all of those interlink with each other and reinforce each other. Once you start doing a couple of them, they support the other elements. So right view leads to right intention, right mindfulness leads to right concentration. And that's why the symbol for the Eightfold Noble Path is a spoked wheel. The point is, you don't have to be Thich Nhat Hanh or the Dalai Lama to walk the path. The elements are right there, and you'll be doing most of these already to some degree. If we start persistently practicing the elements together in our lives, what we find is that we no longer have to try so hard. We don't have to push ourselves or force it. It just is. It just happens. And if you're struggling with your practice, broadening it out in this way and switching things up can help massively, especially if, what you're focused on is just doing that 15 minutes of guided meditation on the cushion each day. And what we find is that we're Steve Bradbury, training ourselves over years, but in the end, sailing over the line with little effort for a spiritual gold medal, an improbable victory gained by default. So let's sit together for a few minutes with a guided meditation on the body. I'm going to start with 3 sounds of the bell and the usual settling in introduction. I'm going to start, as we always do, by focusing our beginner's mind on our posture. And I would invite you to imagine that you have a thread attached to the crown of your head. and it's gently pulling you upwards into an upright position, your spine like a stack of coins, your heart raised upwards and outwards, your hands comfortably in your lap. And just allowing a gentle smile to emerge in your face as we enjoy the stability of our posture. And expanding that spotlight of awareness to your entire body. Noticing where you feel warm or cold. Noticing where you feel tense or relaxed. Becoming aware of the sensation of the clothes against your skin. And the points of contact between your body and the chair and the floor. Shifting that spotlight of awareness to your thoughts and feelings. And as we go through the guided meditation, just noticing each thought as it arises. And that might be an anxious thought about tomorrow. It could be a happy thought about today, or a sad thought about yesterday. Just sitting with each thought. Maybe noticing what kind of thought it is and applying a label. Allowing it to leave. And then gently, and without judgment, bringing your attention back to your breath. And finally, focusing your awareness on the breath, noticing that column of air between your nose and your diaphragm. Noticing how the air feels cooler on the way in. Warmer on the way out. Breathing in, I am aware of my eyes. Breathing out, I smile to my eyes. Aware of eyes, smiling. Breathing in, I am aware of my smile. Breathing out, I smile to my smile. Aware of smile, smiling. Breathing in, I am aware of my shoulders. Breathing out, I smile to my shoulders. Aware of shoulders, smiling. Breathing in, I am aware of my heart. Breathing out, I smile to my heart. Aware of heart, smiling. Breathing in, I am aware of my lungs. Breathing out, I smile to my lungs. Aware of lungs, smiling. Breathing in, I am aware of my hands. Breathing out, I smile to my hands. Aware of hands, smiling. Breathing in, I am aware of my legs. Breathing out, I smile to my legs. Aware of legs, smiling. Breathing in, I'm aware of my feet. Breathing out, I smile to my feet. Aware of feet, smiling. And as we reach the end of the guided meditation, first of all, apologies for the stomach rumbles. It's coming up to lunchtime here. And just noticing any changes in our body during the guided meditation. Noticing any areas of relaxation. Maybe noticing feeling hungry. Noticing any areas of tension or discomfort and taking a moment to stretch those. Then noticing any changes in our mind. And if we feel a sense of calm or peace, then I would invite you to carry that through the rest of your day. And finally, opening your eyes and returning your awareness to the room that you're in. And just before we finish, if you are enjoying the podcast, if you know someone who might enjoy listening to it too, or if an episode is particularly relevant to them, then please do share on social media or by email or just by word of mouth. May be happy, may be peaceful, and may you see yourself through the eyes of understanding and compassion. Slán Bhuile, and I'll see you next time.
Well, I've been afraid of changing, 'cause I built